Plans are useless, but planning is everything. Dwight Eisenhower was spot on with that quote. But it's so easy to do and planning that makes no sense. So what is actually the right way to do annual planning? That's what I'm going to be discussing in this video. So how to get most out of your year by doing annual planning the right way. Hit a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Okay, let's talk about annual planning. So how to do annual planning the right way. So, this is a really important thing to do. And we do weekly plannings and that kind of stuff. And we do have like OKRs, objectives and key results that we do quarterly. But it would actually make more sense if we focus or have at least some kind of idea that what are we going to be doing in the long term, and in this case long term actually means 1 year. So when you're a startup, when you're a startup you cannot really do like 5-year plans or stuff like that, because because that's just too it's just too a long time period. So there's a saying that startups live like dog years. So 1 year is like 7 years or whatever. So I think that's pretty accurate. So that means that it doesn't make sense that for us to do any like 5-year, 10-year plans, because most business actually don't even exist 5 years after they started. So it makes much more sense when we focus on 1 year, 2 year, and then quarterly, and then weekly, just to make sure that we are progressing on as planned. But first, before proceeding with any annual planning, I actually recommend in answering these 2 questions. What do you think those 2 questions are? Well, I will just tell you. So the first question is actually, why do you do what you do? So, why are we even doing this? What's in it for us? Like, why did we start this business? Why are we trying to build this company? Why are we selling on Amazon? What's the point of all this? And the reason is that, there are times that things are just gonna get tough, and it's super easy to lose motivation. It's super easy to lose momentum. So at those times, we have to remind ourselves that, hey, why are we even doing this? And for me personally, why did I start a business? Why did I start selling on Amazon? And for me, the key thing was freedom. So, this slide usually reminds me about the reasons that I started. So, it's about that I'm able to travel around the world. So I have this independent, business that is not tying me to any location or time, and I don't need to go to some office like 40 hours plus every single week. And that I also have the finances to do what I want, and I also have the ability to spend more family time and whatnot, and pretty much like enjoy life and live life to the maximum as the way I see it. And I don't really, I live most of my life in Finland, so I don't want to live the rest of my life in Finland. I actually want to explore other countries. So Amazon this business has allowed me to move into different countries like Philippines and living in the US, in California as well. And second question is that, what value do you provide? And you actually means in this case the company, the brand, the thing that we are actually selling. So this is not about making money. it's more about that. Of course, business has to make money per se. Otherwise, it's not for profit, right? The thing is that we should consider is that, okay, we are selling certain kind of products and services and whatnot with our physical product business, but So what value actually do we provide? What value are people able to achieve with the products that we sell? So if we shift this focus from just selling and selling and selling, instead of really that, I mean, our brand is about this. Our brand is about providing this positive impact by doing X. Then I mean, it really changes the whole dynamics, not only in you, but you can also see it with your employees, with your teams, because when you force them to always ask that, okay, I mean, how does this help actually the customers? How does I mean, we have a loyal fan base, we have like raving fans, so how does this decision impact them? And I mean, Zig Ziglar had a nice saying that, I mean, if you can dream it, then you can achieve it. So you will get everything you want in life if you just do this one thing. So if you just help enough of other people get what they want. And Zig Ziglar was a famous like sales guy in marketing, and he has written a lot of great books about the topics of selling. And this is so spot on. So I mean, selling is not about forcing our products to customers. No, it's more about that we just help people to achieve something. So, and that something is that what you need to answer with what your product actually does. And yeah, I mean, usually people overestimate what they can do in 1 year, and personally I've been guilty of this many times, and we tend to underestimate what we can do in 5-10 years and so on. So we actually need to keep in mind that 1 year is 12 months. I mean, it's not that long time, so we shouldn't go wildly, like, I mean, we shouldn't do unrealistic goals. We have to keep in mind that it's not that long time. So some of the most common mistakes is that we make too big, we make too detailed, maybe even task level and rigid, meaning that we write a plan and then we cast it on stone and say that, I mean, this is the plan, and this is what we are going to do no matter what. And things is that, I mean, like Mike Tyson said, that everyone has a plan until you get punched in the face. So in those cases, when you get punched in your mouth, then what do you actually do? So like, usually what happens is that we have to make some changes in our plans. So it makes much more sense that we are agile and we're nimble and we are able to surf around in those waves of changes. And yeah, I mean, maybe even just plain crazy plans. And I know, I mean, I've actually worked in corporates where like sometimes you get this, oh, the management just made this plan for next year. And when you look at it and it's like, oh, this is actually insane. It doesn't really make any sense. And this is kind of like beginner mistake, that you just don't understand what getting to the end result really requires. For example, let's say we want to do $1 million in sales next year. And if we are selling $10 products, so really cheap products, but I mean, just for the sake of simple math, let's just say $10 products. Okay, that means that we need to sell 1 million products. And if the cost of goods sold is $3 per unit, then during the year we would need to invest $3 million in inventory. So are we able to do that? And if not, then okay, I mean, then we either need to find those funds or like make changes in our actual plan. And then, yeah, I mean, we lose focus, we get lost in details, or just doing too many things at the same time. And there's actually saying that, I mean, most companies don't die because of starvation. They die from ingestion, meaning that they just take on too many things, and they end up in a situation where they are tight on cash, and maybe they have like bills that they cannot pay, and boom, then they go bankrupt. So it's not about starvation. The most common issue is that you just take too many things and you're not able to put in the effort that all these different projects require. Yeah, and then I mean, not accounting and adapting to change, because yeah, life happens. We all have nice plans, we have beautiful plans, and boom, then something happens. And whenever we are starting something new, there's bigger amount of uncertainty, and this uncertainty just goes lower and lower as time goes on. So that just means that we start with really like more high level things, and when we start something new, we have a lot of uncertainty, and as things proceed, it just goes lower and lower. So that's why we need to start with high level and then go get more details when we move closer and we get more data. So let's actually define a process for this. So first of all, we have to define what is the place where we want to get. Secondly, how does it look like? So we have decided that we have some end result that where we want to be after 1 year. Then how does it look like? And then how do we actually get there? And then basically the fourth thing is tracking how to make sure that we are proceeding as planned and making changes on the plan as we go. So first thing is defining that where do we want to be? Where do we want to be in 1 year from now? So it's good to make it's good to do stretch goals, meaning that, for example, some of the objectives and key results should be really about stretching yourself. So you're pushing yourself to go beyond something that you actually believe. But the thing is that we have to be realistic to some states, and we have to consider that what are the different resources that there are available. And one resource is time. So I mean, it's only 12 months or 52 weeks or 365 days or 8,765 hours. And let's say that the work time is like 40 hours per week. Then okay, I mean, it's only 2,000. It's less than 2,000 hours, and maybe the real productivity is maybe only 4 hours per day, which is actually pretty crazy. I don't think it's even 4 hours. Maybe it's like 2 hours. But let's say in the crazy thing that it would be 4 hours, then that it would mean like less than 1,000 hours. So if we have only like 1,000 hours at our disposal, though, so what does the end result look like? What are the different trends that's going on, the different problems? So, and then what are the different opportunities and threats that are going on? So if you're talking about Amazon, so what are the different changes that are going in the Amazon marketplaces? What are the different trends? I mean, every year you can see different products taking off. So, I mean, if we actually look at it, so what if we would like to tap onto some existing trend or like upcoming trend? We don't want to join a trend when it's already at the growth state, because it means that it's soon going to mature and then it's going to decline. So it makes much more sense that if we are going to be joining a trend, that we are in the early phase when it's just being introduced. But let's say that, okay, in like end of next year, in 12 months, after 12 months, I have an Amazon FBA business that I can sell for 7 figures. And I can say that, I mean, that is totally doable in 12 months? I mean, I would say that it's totally doable for every one of you, even if you haven't sold anything, even if you haven't made a single sale yet. So this is totally doable, but then we also need to define that. I mean, what does it actually look like in terms of details? So if I want to sell a business for $1 million, what does it mean? Let's do some simple math. So let's say that, okay, it's $1 million in revenue. And let's say that the seller's discretionary earnings is 300K. And let's just take really low ball like multiplier of 3.5. So that means the multiplier times the SDA, you get the valuation of the business. Okay, fine. So now we have some simple math to look at. Okay, fine. Is this realistic to do in 12 months? And what is the key metric that gets me there? So let's say that I haven't sold anything yet. Obviously, I need to get new products. I mean, I need to get products. Or let's say that, I'm already doing, I already have a business, but I'm not there yet. I mean, what's the reason that, first of all, I'm not there? So am I doing something wrong with my current products? Or do I actually have poor products, which means that I also need to get new products in order to get there? So what's the key metric that we need to track in order to make sure that we get there? And what are the different resources to make it happen? So resources being time, money, and team, and whatnot. And secondly, I mean, is this what I really even want? Because sometimes it might be that we realize that, we are able to get there, but it's just not. It's just going to take bigger amount of effort than we realize that. No, I don't want this. So that's really an important question to ask. And first of all, I mean, am I willing and able to do what is required to pay the price? So am I able and willing to pay the price for this? So what do I need to get to my destination in terms of resources? So since we are selling physical products, then one key thing is definitely inventory. And typically in this business model, we need to pay for the products first. We need to buy products before we are able to make a single sale. I mean, even before earning $1, we have to invest something. And typically that means that, okay, I mean, we need to have, either we have some other creative ways in getting inventory, or we have maybe we have some relations with suppliers, or maybe we have, maybe we are in a situation where we know people and we are actually able to sell their products. But in many cases, in most cases, it usually means that we need to be buying the products first. So do we have the budget in order to make this happen? So if you want to build this business into, get me $1 million for cash for our business. So do we have the budget in order to make it happen? Because selling physical products requires budget. I mean, that's for sure. And then do we have a team who is able to do this? Do we have professionals that are able to, that we would need? Do we have access to the different skills that we need in order to get our destination? So these are the different kind of resources that there are. Then, and secondly, I mean, who do I have to become to get to my destination? And let's say even if I'm working alone, it's still a question of leadership, meaning, because it means how do I lead myself? It's about what kind of working methods and what kind of how do I develop myself and how do I actually lead myself? And especially when you get team when you have team, when you have VAs, then I mean, making sure that you get the maximum effort, maximum output of everyone is that becomes really, really important. Then productivity. I mean, I'm not really a fan of any kind of productivity hack. I'm not really a fan of like becoming efficient. I'm more about becoming effective, which means that instead of having this mile-long task list, I mean, I like much more the approach that let's just focus. Let's just think that, okay, what is just the one thing, the number one thing that we just have to do, and put like put effort to do those things. So, but that also means that I'm constantly asking and like questioning myself that, I mean, is this really the most important thing, the number one thing to do? Then different kind of habits to build. I mean, we don't need to be these super productive people, but I mean, still it's important that we build different kind of habits just to make the work easier for us. And one thing that definitely will make the work easier is to have more energy. So if we want to have more energy, then we need to consider that, okay, I mean, what are the bad habits that I currently have that are eating my energy? So maybe I'm not sleeping well, and maybe when I start working, I'm not able to get to the zone. I'm not able to like get to this flow state as quickly as I want. So that's why I actually prefer like building these kind of habits. So it's not about becoming super productive. It's not just like creating more, like making sure that I'm energetic and don't have any need to take naps and so on. So then it comes about your sleeping habits and what you eat and so on. And if we lose our health, then it's going to be really difficult to manage our business. I actually don't know, like remember one Amazon seller, we started about the same time, and he had really like thriving business. Everything was going really well, but then he got into some health issues, and his health like quickly deteriorated, and his business pretty much went down under. I mean, it just went completely bust. So he basically lost his business because he was not able to work pretty much for like 1 year or so. So you can imagine that what happens to your like business if you don't have the team to do everything, and you are not able to put any hours, any input to your business for a year. And then, and that's actually one thing that one reason that why I always want to build the businesses that where it doesn't depend on me. It's because let's say I get sick and I'm not able to do anything, then I mean, will my business die? Will I pretty much like lose everything just because I'm not able to work? And then different kind of relationships. I mean, obviously your family, spouse relationship, but then also the different relationships that you have in your business with suppliers and whatnot. And having just a healthy work-life balance. Okay, I mean, fine, if you're just talking about 1 year, then I'm sure like most of us could work like crazy for 1 year period, but I don't, I think it's much healthier if we have like sustainable pace. So we have the pace that we can just keep working on for months and months and years without ever burning out. So that also means like cutting out everything that is not needed in the business, meaning just cutting out the fat. Like if the goal is to sell the business, then the number one thing, critical thing would be to increase valuation. And that also means that everything you do should have input in increasing the valuation of business. And so often we do things that actually don't increase the valuation. So, I mean, we should pretty much like cut out all those things. And yeah, I mean, this is actually a good question. So which sacrifices am I willing to make? So first of all, like how important is this 1 year goal for me? And what am I willing to sacrifice in order to do that? And actually better word instead of sacrifice would be like prioritization, because let's say that we just want to work more, give like more time for our business, then it just means that, okay, we are just going to be like lowering the prioritizing some of these things lower. Like, okay, maybe we can spend less family time, spend less relationship time, spend less time working at the gym for a shorter period. Because let's say that it's just 1 month. If I want to throw myself into something for 1 month, then if I just like let's say that if I don't go to the gym like for 1 month, will it have like huge impact on my health? Well, maybe not. So maybe for this 1 month period, I can actually prioritize these and these things lower and lower. And definitely like the things that don't give much value, like just going out and doing different kinds of things. But anyway, so the thing is that the more clear picture we create, the easier it will be. And here is perfectly fine to just go nuts with the details. Then how do we actually get there? And the reason that why we use OKRs, I mean, we have been using for quite a few years already, but yeah, I mean, they were pretty much developed by Intel, but one of the companies that really made them famous was Google. So when the early investor joined Google, he had this requirement that, guys, you have to use OKRs or then I'm not going to work with you. And Google started using those when they were just like tens of people, and they are still using it when they're like hundreds of thousands. I don't know how many people, how many employees Google has. And they are basically saying that the OKRs have helped lead us to 10x growth many times over. So it's pretty much this goal setting framework that helps define goals and track the outcomes. So establish far-reaching goals in days instead of months. And objective means what I want to have accomplished, and it needs to actually be something that gives you a reason to get out of bed. And as the leaders, as the founders of the business, I mean, it can be things can be vague for us because we know much more, and there's a reason. The company, the business itself gives us purpose, but I mean, things will not be the same for our team and our employees. So that's why it's super important that your team members create these OKRs. So it gives them direction and sense of purpose, that why do they do what they do. So objective is this inspiring, and then the key result is just matter of measuring like was the goal met or not. So how am I going to get it done? So it needs to be specific and measurable. So I think it's just much easier to start from the end and going backwards, because we like to create these OKRs for quarters. So that means that we will have for 1 year, we are going to be having like 4 objectives and 4 objectives. But I think it's more helpful to start from the end result and then just go backwards. So we just defined that we want to have this business that we can sell for 7 figures in cash. So how would we know that we have met this goal? Well, quite simple ways that we have offer from a buyer saying that, okay, I mean, they're going to buy the business for $1 million in cash. okay, if that's the thing for the last quarter, if that's the thing as the end result after this 1 year, then I mean, the previous 90 days could be that, okay, my products are just crossing the marketplace. And here I mean, the objective means that, I mean, it's just something that is inspiring for me. So that's why like nobody else can really create these OKRs on your behalf, because the key question is that, does it inspire you? I mean, it's your OKR, so it's your objective, so it needs to be inspiring you. It needs to be purpose for you. Okay, let's say that, okay, I have this vision for the third quarter, so that, okay, my products are crossing the marketplace. So this would be for the fall, let's say. Okay, fine. I mean, it's pretty vague. I mean, how do you define that? Is it crossing or not? So that's why you would have this key result that, okay, I mean, I have ranked each product to top 3 on the main keywords on every market and set all units for rest of the year. And the biggest, in retail, the biggest time is always the last quarter. So that means that we already need to have inventory arrive in the target market. If not at the FBA warehouse or the upstream storage, but at least in the same country. So that we will not run out of stock. Then the previous 90 days, let's say that we have an objective that I have products and a team to support me. So I have the product that I need, and then additionally team to support me. How this is, I mean, how do you measure this? How do you define this? How will I know that this has been met? Let's say that key result, we could do that. I have virtual assistant growing my Amazon business, and we have shipped X amount of products to US, Canada, and European Amazon marketplaces. And the previous 90 days, so this would be starting from January, ending in March. That what is the objective? So what has to be the end result when it's April 1st? I have a pathway to build $1 million brand. So as we covered in the beginning, I mean, when we start something new, when we start the year, I mean, like, let's say that we are starting from scratch today. There's just so many different things that we don't know. So it's really difficult to figure out what are the specific steps along the way. So that means that, I mean, it makes more sense that we in the first 3 months, 90 days, we use in order to gather more data and get more clarity. So we have this pathway to build $1 million brand. And okay, I mean, it still bakes, but at least it inspires me. It gives me purpose. It just means something to me. It gives me a reason why I should like get up every morning and start working on my business, because I'm building this $1 million brand, and I'm going to be getting a pathway for this. So key results could be that, okay, I have a business plan and set up for $1 million valuation based on buyer expectation. And the key thing here is the buyer expectations, because, I mean, if you want to sell your business, I mean, obviously you need to understand that what does it actually take, and why would anyone pay you $1 million for your business, and what are the key things that you need to have in your business to really make sense, right? But yeah, then we have made this plan, and it's all nice and dandy, but if you don't crack it, then soon, maybe in February, March, or at latest in April, we realized, oh yeah, I mean, we have some annual plan. did we have some OKRs? Oh, I have completely forgotten about it. Like what was it about? I remember in December we made this plan, but I mean I have no idea. So that's why we really like after we define these annual plan and these OKRs, we have to keep those constantly in our face, because if we don't, then we are just going to be losing. We are just going to be like losing focus and forgetting everything about it. So that's why we have these weekly sessions where we do planning, review, and retrospective based on the week. So we don't want to do like really details based on the upcoming week. So makes much more sense when we have this OKR, and then we just keep refining this, and we keep getting more data, and we keep just doing it better and better. And pretty much like it's fine to do this do changes on these OKRs for 1 year, like even when we started. Like that's the thing, that once we do this, it doesn't mean that it's cast in stone. No, I mean things are going to go in a different way than we anticipated. So it just means that we need to fine tune our plan and do the changes as necessary. So during this, let's say in March, I mean, how we do it is that in this like really goals planning session, and we basically just Google Documents. So on the top of that page, we just have those like OKRs. So we see those like every single week. And when we do the planning, we always check that, what sort of OKRs did we have? What sort of key results did we have? And make sure that we are still aligned with those things that we planned. But then after, let's say that if we decide create a plan like for next year, then in April we would be reviewing the past OKRs for the first quarter. So we pretty much assign scores and mark what is done, what is not done, and plan the upcoming OKR. So make sure it still makes sense what we had for the rest of the year. And there's many ways how to do this, like OKRs, like all these key results. And I think for me, at least, it's important to keep things really simple, because if you really like complicate it, then usually what happens is that even if I do it, even if Victor would do it, I mean, some of our team members would not understand it. So it makes much more sense to just keep it really simple and don't make it so complicated. For example, I know that Google actually has some quite complicated like measures on how they measure like whether the key results are done. And another method is using this like traffic light method, meaning that there's different colors. But I mean, no need for that. Just it just makes things more complicated. So start simple, and you can then keep adding new things, making more complicated when you actually have more experience on it. So then we do retrospective based on the quarter. So it's a similar thing as the weekly retrospective. The difference is that the focus is on the quarter, and the focus is much more on the whole business, on the whole company, and with all the team members. So it's not team like the weekly retrospective, I mean, that's team based, but quarterly retrospective, I mean, that's for the whole company. Then just modifying this annual planning as needed. So let's say that I mean, in this planning session, we just break down the quarter to weeks, and then there's different I mean, there's daily synchronization with the team and with the accountability, and then reviewing if everything was done as expected and after the week. And then retrospective is about finding things to improve next week. then just modifying this plan if needed. So the thing is that it really needs to be specific. I mean, the objectives are about being meaningful and inspiring, but if the key result is not specific and measurable, then I mean, at the end you will not know that was this done or not done. So it has to be something concrete, or it has to be something numeric, and so on. One of the most common mistakes that has also happened to us, that okay, we just go crazy with this annual planning, and we just have a million different objectives, and we have a million different key results, and then what I notice is that what happens to team members is that when there's just too many different things that they are doing, I mean, they lose the focus and they will never ever do even most of it. Like if they do 60%, then I mean, that would be even that would be a stress. So that's why the annual plan must fit to one slide. So we defined that we want to have an Amazon FBA business that we can sell for 7 figures, and in numerics, in numbers, it means that revenues, extra revenues, $1 million with 300K SDE with this multiplier of 3.5. So I have a pathway to build this $1 million brand. I have products and team to support me, and my products are crossing the marketplace. And as a result, at the end of the year, I have an Amazon FBA business that I can sell for 7 figures. And how do I measure it? I measure it that I have an offer from a buyer to buy my business for $1 million. So what would that mean? I mean, that would mean that I have already had discussions with some potential buyers that they want to buy my business for this amount of cash. And this is important point that, I mean, these financial forecasts, I mean, this is something you should do in any case. So, I mean, so putting those as key results might, I mean, it doesn't make sense in my opinion, because it's so easy to just turn blind eye to other important things. And having too many key results disrupts focus. I mean, trust me, I have just seen it so many times. So less is more. So when we have done it in such a way that we have a lot of these key results, we have all these different things, then what we notice is that, I mean, team, they just get so unfocused, and the output actually goes lower and lower. So that's why, in my opinion, it's much more important question is that, okay, I mean, if we cut out everything else, then what is the only thing that we just have to do right now? And then just once you achieve that, then go to the next thing and next thing and next thing. That's the approach that I prefer after all these years of working. And yeah, I mean, time goes fast. And like we realized that, okay, 1 year for us, for one person, I mean, it's gonna be just less than 1,000 hours. So what can you do in those 1,000 hours? It's good to stretch yourself, but I mean, overestimating is not helping anyone. And it's not about the plan. The point is just to get the right stuff done. And it's not about being fast either, because if we are just doing the wrong things, I mean, none of it will matter. It just means that we are going to get to the wrong direction faster. So we want to be, first thing is that we want to be doing the right things. And planning helps focusing on the right things pretty much like 24/7, because when we have this discipline of doing this every week, where we focus, where we make sure that our team focus on the right things, then I mean, this is just a structure that will make everything so much easier. Then it's pretty much just a concept of rinse and repeat.
If you like this topic, then hit a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to discuss more of these topics, then make sure to join our group. And if you'd like me to personally help you, then just drop me a message and let's have a chat. See you soon.